It's Ian at RTO here. Welcome to a very different and classic album show. I wouldn't call this one a classic, but it's part 2 of the Jon Lord story. And this is the only place I could put it in this week because of on Friday, where this normally would go, I'm reviewing the new Dream Theater album. So I had to pop it in here. So here we go. Okay, this album is an album that Jon Lord did with Tony Ashton. Remember from Ashton, Gardner and Dyke, The Resurrection Shuffle. It's one of their well-known tracks. This album is called The First of the Big Bands. It was released in 1974, so Jon Lord was still with Deep Purple at the time. It was a little project between Tony Ashton and Jon Lord, and the continuation of their working relationship after Ashton, Gardner and Dyke did a soundtrack from The Last Rebel, and Jon Lord sort of helped out. That was back in 1971. Stylistically, this is the first of the big bands, is the precursor to the album that we'll be looking at next week of Pace, Ashton and Lord's Malice in Wonderland, which is next week's One Hit Wonder. So we all know what's happening the week on Friday. So if it weren't for this album, you wouldn't have got Malice in Wonderland. So who is on here this album? Who performs? There's quite a lot of people on here, some well-known people as well. Tony Ashton, of course, on lead vocals, Hammond organ and piano. Mr. Jon Lord, Hammond organ and piano. Mick Clark on guitars. Jim Cregan on guitars. Jerry Donahue plays guitars on this. Peter Frampton plays guitars on this. I don't know which tracks though, because very hard to find out information about an album like this that's very rare. Pat Donaldson plays the bass. Then we have 3 guest drummers on here. One of them being Carmina Peace, Vanilla Fudge, Ian Pace, we all know about him, and Cozy Powell. He appears everywhere, does our Cozy. Then we got this classic brass section. You know, Dave Caswell, Mike Davis, John Mumford, Dick Parry and Howie Casey, all great musicians on their own. Not a bad little lineup, is it? So these are all recorded at different times and dates. So I'll tell you where they were recorded, because they all weren't recorded in 1974. So the first track on the album is called We're Gonna Make It. This was recorded at the Apple Studios on the 17th of November 1971. Great little rock track this is. I like Jon Lord's keyboards on this. He's playing the piano. You can tell it's him. It's just his style. You got Tony Ashton playing, playing the keyboards, and you've got Jon playing the piano on this. So looked at it and I did find that this is how it works. You thought it'd be the other way around, but it's not. And Tony Ashton's brilliant on this as well. Great singer. Not a bad track. My favourite track on this album. I mean, I'd never heard this album up until about 3 weeks ago. Pretty bad, isn't it? Next track is called Downside Upside Down. This was recorded on the 31st of October 1972 at the D Lane Studios. This starts off with that very distinctive Jon Lord keyboard sound. Absolutely stonking. Great track. Again, some great performances on here. The sound's brilliant. Then we get a track called The Bands of the Salvation Army, including bringing in the Sheaves. Recorded in autumn 1973 at the Air Studios. I don't like this. There's not much Jon Lord on it. It's just one of them tracks. Oh dear. Fourth track called Silly Boy, recorded in August of 73 at the Air Studios. This is great. It's got that like that electric piano sound Jon Lord did with Whitesnake, and you know, in the early days, and you can imagine David Coverdale actually singing this song. It is really good song. Then we have Surrender Me, recorded in 1972. Doesn't say where though. I love this. It's a funky sort of track, some great keyboard from both guys. Absolutely having a whale of a time on this. Great guitar work, great vocal, really good track. Okay. Next track is called Celebration, recorded at the Air Studios in 1971. Again, not much in the way of keyboards on this. I don't like it at all. So we'll move on to the next track. There's no where this one was recorded, but it's called I've Been Lonely. The Hammond rules okay on this, and I love the horns. Jon Lord's Hammond and the horns, and them fantastic musicians. Fantastic track. Shut Up, recorded in November 1972 at the D Lane Studios. I don't like this one at all. It's got some pretty strange tracks on here. And the last track is called Ballad of Mr. Giver, and what lets this down though, there's a little reprise of Celebration, and yeah, great little rocker in this though. John's piano is stonking, so is Mr. Ashton's, having a real good time, and then they put that horrible Celebration back in it, and it's pretty. I mouthed that. So if they hadn't got that bit of Celebration in it, it'd be even better. Okay, it's an okay album. I mean, I was listening to it if I've never heard it, so I listened to it as fresh as a daisy. It's got some good tracks on it, and it's got some not so good tracks on it. But as I've said, if we hadn't have had this, we wouldn't have had Paste, Ashton and Lord. And this is just like the graduation and of stuff without that John did, not in Deep Purple. I mean, he's been great friends with Tony Ashton anyway, and they played together right up until not long before John sadly died. So their friendship was important to John, and you know they did work on quite a bit, and they did some live stuff as well. So this is just like a test, I suppose, a tester, and they found out they liked what they were doing. So for an RTO ranking on this, I'm going to give it a 7.5 because on the whole it's a pretty enjoyable album, and I have now got it in my library. I'm hoping I might get to like the other tracks a bit more, but we'll see how it goes in time. Okay, well that's the last show for today. So tomorrow we've got what I've called a Ladies' Day. We've got it's all about female artists tomorrow. The first show we've got tomorrow, an album ranking, we'll be ranking the albums of Canadian rock singer, pop singer Alanis Morissette. Really like her stuff. Got all her albums. I haven't had to search for them. I've got them all except 2. And there's a reason for that, and you'll find that out tomorrow. And then retro ranking tomorrow is the fantastic Tina Turner. Fantastic singer, fantastic everything. Never saw her, but I saw her. I was on holiday in Portugal a few years ago, and there was a tribute act done by a bloke, and he was absolutely brilliant. I'll talk about more about that tomorrow. So that's all for tomorrow. Have a great day. Have a great evening, because a lot of you will be watching this evening. So chill out, watch it with a beer. I will see you tomorrow. Take care for now.